Every pirate on the sea, whether old or young, rich or broke, whether merchant or reaper, all of us are working towards a single goal. Pirate legend. Heck, you don't even have to know that you're doing it in order to do it. Your time on the sea is inevitably going to build your legacy and get you closer and closer to that coveted spot in Athena's fortune. So needless to say that my crew and I were pretty excited about all of our efforts finally culminating in the ascension to legendhood. After 3 months of voyages, sinking ships, and amassing reputation, we were finally at the end of our journey. Or at least that particular chapter of our journey, and we wanted to make it a day to remember. A 6-hour session filled with naval combat, the heisting of the Fort of the Damned, as well as many shenanigans in between would make for a worthy voyage to cement our legacy. So ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your bananas and get ready for a special episode of the Sea of Tales. The beginning of our journey would start with us showing a lot more restraint than we were used to, flying under the flag of the Reapers. Sinking other ships is the name of the game, but because it was still early in the day, we figured it made sense to give them time to collect some loot for us to eventually steal. I still had a few chunks of reputation to make up until I could finally become a legend, and as such, stealing as many riches as possible was more important than the satisfaction of a quick sink. Granted, there was one Reaper galleon that decided to initiate combat when we had no intention of fighting them. Not retaliating would be a sign of weakness, and as such, we swiftly made their possessions part of our collection. We thought that would be a done deal, but as we were sailing around, we found that same crew stalking us from afar. Last time they had to jump on us and still lost the fight, so it's not like we were particularly worried about it, but we also weren't big fans of them sticking so close to us the whole time. In true Reaper fashion, we decided to take matters into our own hands to try and begin establishing our dominance, but as it turned out, these guys weren't gonna go down without a fight again. On our ship, on our ship! I caught anchor, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him!
Oh, he got me.
He got me.
Remember what I said about the
I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead. Yeah, we had definitely gotten a bit full of ourselves with our attempted ramming play. A smart crew would have taken their opposition seriously, and well, we were paying the price for not having done that. I returned from the ferry of the Damned just to be dropped into a sea of flames. Brandon and Alex were holding their own while Birdie and I were gone, but now we had to try and turn the tables lest our ship was going to be burned to an absolute crisp. I decided to return the favor and set them ablaze as well, which was definitely more satisfying than it was useful. But when our opponents continuously succeeded in slicing up my boarding crew while relentlessly boarding us, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I'm jumping. He's dead. I'm going on the ship. If you guys got repairs, we shouldn't have holes.
Killed a couple of them that are on there. There should be 2 that just spawned in.
Man, if only we had a keg.
Do they have holes?
Yeah, no, they don't, but we're gonna take their stuff anyway.
Shark in the water, careful.
Too close that we have to raise anchor.
One dead.
Far enough away.
Here's store trade on board, Cliff. Store trade on board.
Don't waste chains, don't waste chains, the anchor. Respawn, respawn.
Right. Looks like all the fire is out.
Dead.
Nice.
They got lowers?
I had to jump off, Cliff. I was too
It's
long.
fine, I'm fine.
I like how they can just one-shot blinding me, but I can't.
He's down below.
He's in the
Yeah,
water.
someone's tucking on our ship, Cliff. I saw him go below.
Okay, I got one. He jumped into the water off our ship. 2 respawn, double respawn.
Alright, coming.
Top deck, top deck.
Actually, I need to get food from us real
Killed
quick.
one.
Thank you. I'm 1 HP. What's up?
Hey, bail water, bail water. I need to get their cannonballs.
I need food, I need food. Behind you, behind you, behind you!
I'm trying to raise our anchor right now if you guys can keep it busy over there.
Yeah.
One just jumped off. One's on the ship.
I'm coming.
I need food. Is the guy on the ship dead?
Yes.
I have
No, that's behind you, behind you!
Oh, there must have been a second then.
That hurt a lot.
Is he dead?
No, one below.
Alright, we can sink him now. I'm gonna die to this guy, but we can sink him.
No vet birds in here.
Well, you can say that, but we can't.
I took all their cannonballs.
They're done. There's another
Down.
2 Reapers.
Oh, yep, they're sunk. Okay.
They are sunk?
I got a little
they're
toxic with him, don't worry about it. Well, nobody can say that we didn't give him a chance. Absolutely feeding our brains out to start off this encounter was head start enough, but at the end, we came out victorious. At that point, we were entirely certain that they would not come back to stalk us again, except... There's a captain on the island. I'm gonna go kill him real quick. A what?
That might be what we need to do.
I'd want... There's another guy, I killed one, there's one more. Yeah, these wouldn't be Reapers if they didn't decide to fight to the bitter end. They definitely managed to catch me with my pants down, but eventually, even the stragglers would find their way to the Ferry of the Damned. With that encounter behind us, we figured enough time had passed for us to start messing with some other crews, but as fate would have it, the seas decided to bless us with an active Fort of the Damned. When it comes to the tales we share at the tavern, we always talk about the glorious acts of piracy that lead to grand riches, but none of us really want to talk about what it took to get there. Heisting the Fort of the Damned sounds really neat on paper until you realize that it requires a whole lot of patience. The crew that was trying to clear the fort was either not very competent, or they were scared of all the ships currently circling that position because they were taking forever. Granted, not all these ships were manned by living pirates. A myriad of skeleton ships was taking away their attention. We made it our job to take them out so that these guys could focus on clearing up the fort. It is a bit ironic that we were engaging in PvE activities just so we can eventually end up doing PvP. No doubt we could have cleared that fort in half the time ourselves, but where's the fun in that? The real fun began when Birdie decided to swim over there to try and tuck on them, and well, he did find a good hiding spot, just that it ended up looking a bit suspicious on our end.
Are you moving, Birdie?
No. It's probably just
Are
the
you
ship
seeing that
rocking in the ocean.
It's like rapid. Very
Yeah, now
rapid
you're
rocking.
like 40 feet in the air. Are you tucking on the fort? Because that's how high your name is.
Are you like tucking in the sky right now? What has happened? Clearly, Alex and I were suffering from a mass hallucination I have since dubbed PvE-ritis caused by an overexposure of PvE activities while awaiting the satisfaction of actual combat. But our chance would come, and when the giant skull in the sky finally disappeared, we knew it was go time. Our crew hurried on up to make sure we could reap the rewards of our patience. The most frustrating thing now would be if another crew got ahead of us.
They fired a border.
Border. He missed.
Border missed. I'm gonna go around the island here.
I'm watching right.
Remember,
Ladder.
you gotta fire these cannonballs really high. Good low hit.
Yeah, he missed.
I think I got their mass. All
Yeah,
mass
yeah,
down.
Boarding.
Maybe
You
a lot.
guys can, I mean, they're gonna sink. They're like mid-deck. Their mid-deck is almost full. They're gonna sink.
They're done.
Nice one.
Easy Fort of the Damned heist.
Any back spawns?
Let's go take everything from the fort before they
I don't see any,
come
but I'm
back.
going to the fort. I think they tucked the loot in the fort.
They couldn't even tuck that fast, to be honest.
You don't know they're tucking.
Yo, oh, Athena! Come on, get down here! Okay, to be fair, there was barely even a fight. We've come a long way from sinking our own ship to heist the FOTD to now getting our hands on these treasures without boasting a single bit of damage to our ship. These guys must have immediately spotted us coming at them the moment they were finished. I made an attempt to run with the Athena chest, but well, we were just one step ahead of them. Their Athena chest as well as the riches in the fort were ours, and after all that time spent waiting, you best believe that filling our pockets was ever the more satisfying. We had defeated every single emissary on the seas, culminating with an, albeit a bit anticlimactic, FOTD heist, but just when we celebrated our win, got there. I was supposed to hand you the
trying.
stuff.
I didn't think that would get you. Are you kidding
Oh
me?
no!
No, the loot's not gonna despawn. The loot's not gonna despawn. Don't
Yeah, and
worry.
I've already got all the loot that's out of the water.
Well, getting merged onto a different ocean does not always have to be a bad thing, but it did come with the side effect of having absolutely busted our harpoon. We had to bring the last few items back on our ship by hand and agreed that rather than going for the sell, we'd be stacking the loot up higher or go down together with it. No doubt that the things we stole up until that point would have been more than enough to get me the last bit of reputation I needed to become a pirate legend, but there was one more thing we had to do before I would be satisfied. There was one final emissary ship on the sea, an opposing Reaper brigantine that I wanted to see at the bottom of the ocean before ascending to legendhood. Oh yeah, remember how we had celebrated our easy win? Yeah, these guys were a lot more competent than any other crew we had fought that day. They made use of the ship's far superior speed and maneuverability, they landed the chain shots, and altogether they were so supremely obnoxious as a result. Sometimes I wonder if that is how other crews feel when they have to fight us, but tenacity is the hallmark of a Reaper Emissary, and as such we had no intention of tucking tail. But that aforementioned lack of maneuverability sides of our galleon was becoming a huge detriment. Every time we succeeded in getting some good shots in, these guys were immediately repairing the most vital components to make sure we can't reel them in. Our boarders were having a hard time even getting on the ship, let alone dropping their anchor before getting sliced to bits. We kept this game of cat and mouse all the way throughout the night until our enemies finally made a mistake and we could get some good shots in. Though it was very apparent that we were as tired as we were impatient after having spent so much time on the seas already.
Merming.
Master down.
We have tons of curse balls.
Jump off, Birdie. Go, use your time.
Yeah, I got it. Did you hit me with that?
Yeah, you jumped in front of me.
How?
You literally jumped as I threw it.
Raise mid, raise mid.
I know, I'm saying that's kind of impressive.
We're on fire.
They're getting away, Cliff. Damn it.
We're taking a water. I need some buckets. Buckets quick.
I have
Ship's
no
good.
range shots left.
Here they come. Here they come.
I'm gonna repair a mass. Go for a board question mark? No.
No.
Actually, no, never mind.
We're lighting them up though. We're hitting.
Yeah, we lost angle though.
A little higher. Higher. Oh, perfect. Nice. Alright, this is your chance. Right now.
Jumping. 39 right.
No, they turned away.
Take shots, take shots. Got broadside on.
Exhausted it. Come on. How does that not hit?
What was that?
Helm ball.
Lower sails.
Border off to the right side. Somebody in the water. Right side.
Okay, I'm watching
Over that wave.
Watching right ladder. I see it.
He's dead. I was not dead. What?
Y'all should stop pulling dead when they're not dead.
How? I should have
Water, take the water, take the water.
He's trying to help you.
4 shots with an eye of reach. How?
Get ready
Okay,
for shots.
both
here.
of you are on fire and you're setting each other on fire.
I'm sitting on a cannon right now.
This encounter was exhausting not only our supplies, but also our energy. Half an hour into this exchange, all of us were longing for an end to the battle, and as you could see, we made every single mistake in the book. Mistakes that we could not get away with when fighting a competent crew on a brigantine. But it was apparent that both of our crews were at our limits. As the cannon fire died down and the boarding attempts became more numerous, we realized that a swift end must be put to this engagement before we absolutely lost our minds. And it seemed like our enemies shared that sentiment. Their sailing skills were nothing to sneeze at, but as this fight continued on, it was only natural for impatience to cause mistakes. And it was in this crucial juncture of this encounter that we had to change our strategy.
Alright, so every time we get any amount of astronomically close to them, they're gonna just turn away.
Can we somehow just like full speed into them and get the ramming play?
Somehow, yes, but it'd be pretty tricky.
I do the sails. Yeah, keep turning like this. It's perfect.
I think that's the only way Birdie and I get on.
Yep.
We're on an intercept course right now.
Straighten out. Straighten out, straighten out.
Yep, we're gonna hit him. We're gonna hit him.
To the right, to the right, to the right. Don't worry about the mast.
Wow, we just barely missed that goal.
Anchor's down.
One dead.
They are anchored. They have no holes. They have a hole.
They might. I don't think they're on the ship currently.
Check for borders. Check for borders. You got holes, Cliff. Check for borders.
Stay under.
There's nobody.
Alright.
We don't have holes either.
Load up their storage crates, Brandon. I'll cover you. Get cannonballs.
They are out completely.
Wow, okay.
I knew it.
Get wood. That guy's dead.
Done. Killed one.
Alright, they're sunk. Big Cliff.
Hey.
Arm is still here, by the way.
Very nice. Love to see it.
That alone was worth it. The
Absolutely.
Reaper flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, to make a point, there's only one Reaper on the server, and that's us. 6 hours and hundreds upon hundreds of cannonballs later, we had finally done it. We decimated every single emissary on the seas, twice over if you want to be technical about it, and I finally felt satisfied. We had a big haul of loot to bring to Reaper's hideout, and I couldn't get that stupid grin off my face, knowing that this voyage is going to lead to my ascension to Pirate Legend. And the cherry on top was the fact that our broken harpoon had fixed itself after we finished our mission. We celebrated all the way to Reaper's hideout in anticipation of the profits we were going to rake in. And of course, that elusive rank 50 with the Reaper's bones that would finally grant me entry to Athena's fortune. Naturally, I was not gonna roll up to that coveted faction without bringing a gift. This chest of legends would mark the beginning as well as the end. The end of my journey, 3 months of rigorous training to live up to a legacy yet to be made. And the beginning of a new journey, that of many more riches and even more shenanigans. Starting with the very next voyage, I would finally take off my Reaper PJs and begin a new life among the legends on the Sea of Thieves. And if you enjoyed this chapter in my book of tales, then by all means do let me know by dropping me a like on your way out. Consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more, and leave a comment down below detailing your most memorable experience on the seas. But until then, thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.